Good afternoon, sir.
Okay.
Your mic. Yes. Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Olumide. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. Good to have you once again. Been a
Thank
while.
you so much.
Thank you very much for making this time. I'm really, really happy to have you once again. And I think we should just go straight to our conversation today so that we can be able to finish. A lot of Nigerians are actually waiting to hear from you, and it's a privilege to actually have you today to be sharing with us a wonderful topic that everybody wants to listen to, how the Nigerian energy transition is looking like, and what are the progress and what are the opportunities for mostly upcoming generation that you are having now. And we also want to hear more of your success story, what you have been able to achieve for the past couple of months, and how Nigeria is meeting their target, their NDC target as well. Thank you very much, and it's good to have you. Quick one, let me quickly go straight and let everybody know that we are live. So, my name is Olumide Idowu, and I'm the co-founder of International Climate Change Development Initiative. I'm very happy today to have a very great, committed Nigerian, Dr. Ahmad Salihijo, for giving us his time to be part of this conversation. We're going to be looking at reviewing Nigeria's progress on energy transition. And a lot of people have been asking that what is our energy going to look like in a couple of years? And how are we preparing for the COP26 and what is going to be our target towards that meeting? So, once again, if you are watching from everywhere, you can still watch this call live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So let me quickly go straight. Good afternoon, sir, once again. Can we actually know you and what you do, sir?
Thank you very much, Olumide. My name is Ahmad Salihijo Ahmad, the current managing director of the Rural Electrification Agency. It's a pleasure being here today with you to have this discussion on our plans for energy transition, as you have mentioned in your introduction. And I look forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks for that quick introduction. That is the kind of conversation we want to see today so that we'll be able to have more people that will hear from you and listen from you. So, my first question is according to the federal government's plan to power almost 5 million new homes through the Solar Power Ninja projects, his ambition and, of course, commendable in terms of just transition. How has this been coming along? What is your contribution towards this?
Thank you very much, Olumide. I think the 5 million new homes program under the Solar Power Niger program is an initiative of the federal government, as you rightly mentioned. And the idea is that that initiative was put together to curb the effects of the unfortunate COVID-19 that we had last year. So across other sectors, of course, the power sector played a prominent role within this economic sustainability plan, where 140 billion was made available through the Central Bank of Nigeria for access to private sector players, private sector developers to come into the space and participate in providing 5 million new connections, getting to 25 million people in the country. And with that, it looks to create up to 250,000 jobs. And the REA, under the guidance of the Federal Ministry of Power, was given as the implementing agency. If you recall, sometime a few months ago, His Excellency the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, flagged off this program by the deployment of 100,000 solar home units in Jigawa State. And in the last few months, we've been making tremendous success in going into the implementation of this program with some partnerships across government organizations, partnership with state governments to be able to access this sort of fund. where we'll be making this sort of deployments within the solar home systems and mini grid space. So far, that program has taken off. And the interesting part is that it also links to the current Nigerian electrification project currently being run by the World Bank and the African Development Bank, where we provide grants and subsidies for private sector developers that are within the performance-based grants and the output-based grants for the solar home systems, where we give those subsidies for people that have already, companies that have already made the connections. So I think we've taken off very well, but we are working very hard to continue the implementation to be able to reach the target of 5 million new homes. Thank you.
Wow, that is actually what people want to listen to, and I think one of the key words for the government plan to power 5 million homes is that I guess a lot of people across the country, maybe they are really not understanding, or they don't really see how they can get connected to this kind of project and how they can see what is actually happening. But I would say that from what you said, a lot have been done, and we want to continue to see more of those implementation across board. Thank you very much, sir. Also, let's talk a little bit also about the Paris Agreement, because I know it's totally linked into what your office is also doing. The federal government actually signed this Paris Agreement, and have also gone ahead to submit the National Determined Contribution, which is the revised document they've submitted days, I think it's day before yesterday or yesterday. How will you assess Nigerians' role in the climate conversation? And what is the role of your office in contributing to this nationally determined contribution? Thank you, sir.
Yes, I think the NDCs, as you've rightly mentioned, Olumide, is a subject of having continuous collaboration within various government agencies. And ourselves at the REA, we have been actively participating in the programs within the nationally determined contributions, as you have mentioned. So sometime last month, we were even invited to a meeting with the Honorable Minister of Environment and the Honorable Minister of State for Environment, where we took stock of the progress Nigeria is currently making. And I know that from my days from the Ministry of Environment, His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari is very, very committed in ensuring that we are fully, we fully reach our targets of the Paris Agreement. I know there are a lot of trajectories around what we expect to attain through business as usual and with financial support from international organizations targeting, for us to get to the net zero carbon emissions. So personally, I've been engaging as an organization as well with the Vice President's office, with a few consultants and the some international organizations, including the UN's SC for All, where we've been working very closely into understanding what the gaps are within the energy transition of the country. So we have had a few meetings with our honorable ministers on this particular subject, where we're rigorously preparing within the energy space what it is that we're going to go and present at COP26, as you have mentioned. And if you can recall, even our President Muhammad Buhari, was at the 40 Leaders Summit on Climate Change back in April, where he again gave his commitments. So since this Paris Agreement was ratified in 2016, we have Nigeria has been actively in the conversation, both physically and virtually. And I must commend the Department of Climate Change within the Ministry of Environment, who I know the key players in driving this process through. And in particular for us, if you recall, the REA actually did benefit from the green bonds that was raised at the Federal Ministry of Environment. So we do have a natural synergy and we are going to contribute tremendously to reducing these carbon emissions. So what we currently have is that we have close relationships with the Federal Ministry of Environment. I even know that within this week, to attend a meeting on battery recycling, which we have been also engaging closely with the with Nesria, on how we can come up with a proper policy in terms of battery recycling, which we look to also encourage private sector players to participate in under the Solar Power Niger program, since most of what we have there is to encourage local participation and local content. We believe it's a very good opportunity for private players to showcase what they can do in terms of ensuring that the environment is safe, and we are recycling our batteries very, very well. So just this month, as I mentioned, we also reviewed the NDCs, and it looks like we are making some progress. But of course, given that the targets are quite ambitious, I think we'll continue to work very, very hard to ensure that we attain those goals. So from our perspective, being the implementing agency of government under the Ministry of Power, we are committed to ensuring that Nigeria reaches its targets, especially from the energy transition perspective. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to mention that a lot has been done, but my key point is how much is Nigeria actually getting to understand what is going on ground. And I think from what you've said concerning our Paris Agreement and the target towards meeting our emission and all of you, I think your office have a very huge role, and I'm very happy that there's a collaboration between the federal government, and as the Minister of Environment, and your office. And this is going to actually help us to, make all opportunity that we have work for the people, most especially the civil society, private sectors, and the younger generation. That's even the one that's yet to come. Thank you very much, and we look forward to the submission of the full Paris Agreement to the UNFCCC very soon. So, sir, I know you've been seeing a lot of conversation around the word energy transition. How are we transiting from the fossil fuel that a lot of people are talking about and stuff? What plan do you have to build local technologies for renewable energy products when it comes to solar panel, batteries? I know you've mentioned something about the meeting you're going to be having very soon on how you want to bring in private sector to look at the battery recycling. So what is your plan? And I think the plan I personally will be looking towards is are we looking at majorly the private sector, the younger generation, and let me say the civil society, for renewable energy products.
So I think Olumide, what you find here within the incorporation of local technologies is that the whole plan of the economic sustainability plan and the solar power Niger program within the 140 billion that is available is actually targeted at local companies. There is even a very deliberate conversation there just to ensure that we build our local companies. So what we find is that in as much as we do talk about local manufacturing, I think what we need to work on is essentially starting with assembling of some of these equipment, as you have mentioned, in country. I'm happy to know that, or happy to let you know that if you've heard of Naseni, you already have a government agency that is currently working very hard on that. However, what we have found is that with the Solar Power Niger program being designed in such a way to encourage that local assembly, we are now having more and more interest because most players are coming in as assemblers and also as distributors. And with the offtake being guaranteed through the Solar Power Niger program, it's now creating a natural market for some of the local parties, local developers that have come in to go into the assembling. So at REA, to continue to encourage this, we also have officially launched a research and innovation hub, which is set up to stimulate innovative ideas within the renewable energy space. What we have found is that there is a lot of interest in bringing in various technologies, such as the biomass, such as small hydros, such as cold chains, to see how we can use that to electrify rural areas. But because we don't have enough case studies at the moment, we believe the best way to go about it is to have some pilots within the country where we have an opportunity to demonstrate these technologies and encourage our private sector players to key into some of them. So as we are now, that program is currently being implemented. Even though we haven't moved to site yet, we are still in the process of identifying and selecting, some private sector players that are willing to come in and demonstrate this technology. And this is currently domiciled in our Rural Electrification Fund office, headed by my colleague, the executive director. And we believe this would be able to harness and provide support to very quality ideas for our young entrepreneurs and innovators. So, of course, we'll continue to open up our doors to work with you, so that we're able to identify more of these sort of innovations to be able to build the local content of the country, so that these technologies end up making an impact in the renewable energy space.
Thank you very much. And my key point in your conversation is you say you just set up a research and innovation hub. And I think that is something that we actually help both private and the youth sector, because it's going to give them the privilege and the opportunity and advantage to understand the importance of what REI is doing when it comes to our energy transition. And I also think it's also going to build capacity in the sense that everybody that is in the space that actually understand the conversation on the energy transition will be able to see the need why, as an individual and as a government, as private sector, we need to start taking responsibility and see how we can be part of this success story. So, sir, how are you ensuring that energy transition is democratized? Because a lot of people want to see that, and your office have the huge important role in doing this. Are they working on economic incentives, both for poor households and industries to transit?
So, absolutely. I mean, with all the strategies that we have been putting in place, if you realize, we have been pushing private sector participation, and the major reason for that is there's this realization that government money on its own is not going to be able to cater for our needs. So for us, we continue to provide that enabling environment just so that the private sector sees energy transmission, through renewable energy as a means and as a business. So the way this would make economic sense, of course, is we have to also continue to regulate and to ensure that energy being provided to our local dwellers and our rural dwellers remains affordable. So that in a sense, is that we need to continue to see how we can equitably deploy our programs within the country. So I can happily tell you that all our programs from the REF, we have a very deliberate, policy that it needs to be distributed evenly across the six geopolitical zones. Same thing when you look at our programs, of course, as designed under the Solar Power Niger program, under the NEP. So we do work very hard just to be sure that the energy or the opportunities that we are providing is widespread within the country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That actually explained that question very well. Once again, if you are just joining us for this fireside chat conversation, I'm here today hosting Dr. Ahmad Salihijo for a great conversation reviewing the Nigerian energy transition. Because a lot of people have been asking why are we having this kind of department or this kind of agency, but we are not seeing much. But now I can tell you that from what we are hearing today, a lot has been going on, and I think we all just need to key in into what they are doing and also make it as a very good way of contacting the office, listen to them, hear what they are doing, and look for a way to be partner with them. And he also mentioned something around making a lot of conversation with private sector participation, which is one of the key conversation as well. But for me, I also see more of collaboration between all stakeholders, and I think that's what we need to do. So if you are just joining us, this is a fireside chat, a conversation with the director, the MD, and the CEO of Rural Electrification Nigeria. So, sir, let's move on so that we can close very fast. I mean, I know that a lot of people have been dropping some questions on the, the tab, both on the Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So, sir, coming to young people, which is one of the reasons why we have been seeking, looking for way to engage and get more information. How can young people and MSMEs get involved in energy transition? We want to know, we want you to tell us, and you want to also to tell us whether you have a program that's been going on, that have been implemented, and how other young people that are interested in energy efficiency, energy production, and every other what of you to be able to implement and also be part of what you are doing.
Okay, so as I mentioned, as a follow up to your last question, I think the whole idea around energy transition and energy generation through renewable energy is to ensure that there are also economic incentives for the poor households. So, in essence, we try our best to see how that electricity we take to the rural areas translate into deliberate jobs and also how they can stimulate economic activity. So we do have a program currently running under the Africa Development Bank intervention that is called the Productive Use Appliances, where it deliberately looks at what sort of businesses can be carried along within the mini grid that we are currently deploying. So I can happily tell you that that program is currently ongoing at the Nigerian Electrification project, and it's called the Productive Use Appliance. You can find more information on it on our website on how to be active on that particular program. So I think the opportunities we have, they span across all these programs, and we continue to encourage, both MSMEs and SMEs to continue to participate. But I believe as young people, we need to continue to also be active in these sort of programs. And as you know, Alumide, I was lucky to even attend one of your programs even prior to my appointment as MD. So I know the good work that you've been doing with the youth. So I want to use this opportunity to continue to encourage you because we need more platforms like this where, within the government agencies, we are able to communicate what exactly we're doing. Because as you rightly mentioned, you can be doing a lot, but without adequate communication, it might not give people an opportunity to participate. But of course, I want to use this chance as well to continue to encourage you. I know sometimes, when government rolling out some of these programs, people used to, or people feel like, some of the programs are not working, but I think the best way to learn is to actually engage, actually give it a go. If you have challenges, we are open. Our Twitter handle is quite active. We are open to answering questions on how we can continue to guide our young people. And with that, a couple of programs that we have, in addition to the Research and Innovation Hub, is within the Energizing Education Program. We organized a STEM program for females where 180 students have already graduated from that. So these are students that have gone through university as engineers. However, they had practical experience in understanding how some captive mini grids have been built for these universities, and they've taken up a lot of knowledge from that. So we are currently also encouraging the universities to continue to engage them in the operations and maintenance of some of these plants. In addition to that, I also believe a very good opportunity is the Energizing Economies initiative, which the REA continues to play its role as a facilitator, where we identify and audit and also do business plans for economic clusters around the country, and we open that up to private sector developers. I'm sure some of you are aware of the Sura market in Lagos, Ariaria market in Aba, and Sabongari in Kano, who have all gone through these programs and currently have private developers running the energy supply for this economic cluster. So I think this is something that is very critical to job creation, and this year we are going to bring out more sites that would open up for private sector developers to engage in.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thanks for the compliment. We will continue to do what we can as long as the government is listening to us. And you also mentioned here now that we should try to engage and we give it a go. You also mentioned that your social media platform is open for everybody that needs clarification on any program that the government is coming up with. I'm so happy to hear the Energizing Education Program, the STEM program you are doing for engineers, and how you are making sure that you engage universities in helping young generation to also be part of what the programs you are doing. And to also say about this, your contribution, the conversation around the research and innovation hub, I think is one of the key takeaway for me today. Because if everybody get to meet REA office to understand how they can be involved, will also be very, very important. So thank you very much. Before we go to our last questions now of the day, I can see some comments here from our Facebook. Somebody said it's a privilege listening to you speak on the effort of REA in contributing towards achieving the Nigerian energy transition journey. Thank you very much for that. Also, somebody said, I would like to know how is the REA integrating and building the capacity of youth to be part of the solution of energy in Nigeria. I think if the person is actually have been watching from the beginning, our last question actually answered that. And I think you just have to do what? Engage, make sure that you get in touch with REA office to understand every program they are doing for both the younger generation, the private sector, and other stakeholders as well. And somebody also mentioned so that your project can support such studies to develop the needed data required for your work. And I think the person is referring to everything that you are doing that can help them to also achieve their own studies, to get data of how they can make sure that they contribute to what is going on. Then somebody also mentioned here, thank you, Mr. Ahmed. I noticed that you have a call for research concept notes, which is great. Can you say a little bit about this? Yeah, that's what somebody mentioned. Then the last question here is, what is REA's strategy in engagement with academics, both at home and in diaspora, to develop innovative approach to improve energy access? Sir, I want to just give you like 1 or 2 minutes to respond to those. Usually, the one the person asks about the research concept notes, maybe it's still out or not. Then the other person also talk about real strategy in engaging academics. You know, people that are into academics. All right, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for those interesting questions. I think I'll start off with the data conversation because I don't think I've touched on it on the um, on some of the other questions I was trying to answer. But with the data, what we have found is that there's a lot of effort that has been made by various international agencies spanning from the European Union through GIZ, the United Nations through SE for All, UK NIAF, NOMAP, a staff, so there's a lot of effort that has been done towards geospatial mapping and data analysis of unelectrified Nigerians in the country. And in the last months or so, we've been taking a lot of time to study that data, to validate it. Some of it also includes aspects where you are finding out what is the economic viability of deploying these mini grids and solar home systems, and how able or what is the survey around these our locals being able to pay for this power. So since then, we have put together a team of representatives from all these agencies where we have been speaking and deliberating with them and working towards having one integrated data system for the whole country with validation around understanding, with boots on the ground, with some of this spatial data we have, how effective are they, and what is the current situation on ground. So I think that is something that we are currently working very hard on with the supervision of our parent ministry, the Federal Ministry of Power. And we talked a little about the innovation hub, innovation and research hub, of which we are currently engaging, as you rightly mentioned, a few universities, both internally and abroad. And also, we have a window in the agency where we bring in lecturers on sabbatical from various Nigerian universities that support all our departments. So we currently have about 2 or 3 of them at the agency, and we're working closely with them in terms of research into new technologies that would help in bringing power, affordable power to rural areas. Because without that research, as you have rightly mentioned, Olumide, it will be very difficult to make a case for some of the technologies that we are looking to deploy. So I think those are, to my mind, the 2 questions. I think the first question spoke about engaging the youth, but I think I've answered that within the questions that you already raised, Olumide.
Thank you very much, sir. I think I'm very happy because you were able to explain so that people will be able to see faithful who is giving them the response now. Because most times, people would love to see when the word is coming out from the MD, the CEO himself, and I'm happy that you're able to give that. And if you are watching and you are still online, please try as much as possible get information you want to get now. Another one is real efforts are really laudable. However, is there a cohesive plan towards energy transition? I think if you have been watching, a lot have been said on that. So please, you can rewatch again on our YouTube platform and our Facebook platform. You can also rewatch back on Twitter as well. Won't the efforts of REA be counterproductive when the government is still looking to harness oil and gas, which is a very key conversation? Sir, what can you say about that?
I don't think counterproductivity is the word to use, because I've had propositions around how even within gas flaring, how you can convert that to renewable energy. So I think it's more of understanding how we can work closely with all sectors. And I mean, we have been approached, by various private sector proponents to see how even LNG can be used to replace diesel in some of our generators and things like that. So I don't think the word is counterproductivity. I think we're working together to coexist and complement the energy being provided through the renewables. And what you find is that if you touch on the oil and gas, most of the plants that are being built, are usually high capacity plants, but so they are more industrial, but if you see most of the solutions that we have within the renewable energy space are solutions that are smaller in capacity. So you're talking as small as, 10, 15 kilowatts for solar home systems. And you're talking about 100, 200 kilowatts for our solar mini grids. So I think in terms of covering the gap of the unelectrified Nigerians, I think both sectors do have their roles to play. With the REA, coming in from the rural perspective, while the oil and gas products coming more from the industrial perspective.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sure that the person have been able to get that information. Like I said, everybody, if you are still watching and you were not able to get to this call, you can watch on all other platforms. We are streaming live, and you can still send your message across to the office. I'm sure they are going to respond to us as soon as possible. We are going to be closing in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So, what should be the role of stakeholders, private sectors, civil society, young people in building a sustainable energy transition in Nigeria?
Okay, so I think starting off with the private sector, I don't think I have. I have emphasized enough the importance of having the private sector, both from the perspective of ensuring that these technologies that we're deploying are technologies that are deployed in such a way that they are sustainable. And for us, the key role the private sector continues to play is that aspect of sustainability. Why? Because once you have, a private sector proponent running that infrastructure as its own business, you'd be very, very surprised to see how much attention the private sector proponent would pay to that particular plan. So we have found that the key to sustainability is to continue to bring in the private sector to participate to ensure that we deliver quality infrastructure and sustainable infrastructure. And with the civil society, we have to continue to work with the civil society, because the civil society is what holds government accountable for the work that they do. As long as it's within an organized manner, is constructive, I think the civil society continues to play a very key role. I mean, I once was part of that group, where, I've run, organizations or civil society and NGOs through water and education. And I see the kind of impact you can make, if you approach it in the right manner. Government does respond positively to constructive criticism where, some issues have been raised, because at the end of the day, we only have one country, and everybody has to play his or her own role in ensuring that we build, especially the energy transition, as Olumide has carefully been able to champion on this call that we have. And it also all rests upon us, the youth, to make sure that once given an opportunity, and you'll be surprised, these opportunities of making impact can come at various levels. It can come even within your community, because I've seen some very, very interesting things that we do as the youth, which I think if we can continue to replicate that, in terms of trying to make an immediate impact even within where you live, I think it will go a long way in ensuring that we build a better country for ourselves.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Quick one before we close. I just want to encourage all our everybody watching from every platform that please try as much as possible. If you have any other further question for our guests today, the CEO of RIA, the Rural Electrification in Nigeria, please, you can channel those questions. You can tag him on Twitter, send to the office, because I can see that a lot of people will want to ask as much as possible. So please send your question to them. If you don't really have much understanding, or your clarification is like you want to be more, you want to get more full details of what is going on, please and please send across these messages to their office, or you can tag him on Twitter, or go to the office for a visit and take a stroll to talk to some of the staff. So once again, let me say a big thank you to our guest for making it today, the managing director, Dr. Ahmed Salihijo, for making it possible. I'm very happy because a lot of people have been able to listen to your plan, the government's plan, and your office plan towards making sure that we have a sustainable energy, and our transition is going to be very, very smooth as we move on in the country. And as also your contribution towards uh, uh, the Paris Agreement. I'm so happy because you have been able to contribute towards that, and we look forward for more contributions with the Ministry of Environment, taking it forward so that we can have a concrete submission to the UNFCCC. We also want to appreciate everybody from all our social media platforms, both on Facebook, both on Twitter, and both on YouTube, and to all the staff of REA. I say thank you very much for making sure the MD was able to do this and getting him on board to do this. Thank you very much, especially to Mr. David for also
Yes.
making this to happen as well. I'm so happy for that. And sir, we hope that as we move on, as the country move towards, we are 6 months into COP26, we'll be able to come back and check what is going on and what is going to be our contribution towards COP26 in Glasgow this year. So before we leave, I would like to hear from you, sir. What is your advice? What is your suggestion for people? Your recommendation for the community or both civil society in taking forward, making efforts in pushing for more conversation in this while we are talking about energy transition? What's going to be that word statement for young people, most especially, that want to also tap into those opportunities, especially the innovation hub that REA is actually implementing and working on? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Olumide. As you know, I'm very happy that you mentioned the team. I have a very good team supporting me towards, and David is certainly doing a really good job. So I want you to continue to open or keep a very open conversation with him, because most of everything I do within this space, David has all the necessary information. As you'd appreciate, sometimes, given the schedules, I might not be able to work on them directly, but all that information is with him. And anytime there's a request, I would continue to encourage him to work closely with yourselves. The one message I'll pass is that it's important for you, as civil society, to also continue to encourage communities to ensure that once there's also a project, within its community, there has to continue this ownership, of that project has to continue. So I'll quickly mention that each time we put down infrastructure or project, we also set up the renewable energy user cooperatives society, where we register members of the community, and they are also tasked with looking over, the activities of the infrastructure that has been taken to that community. So I think is to continue to encourage everyone. Once there's a government program, continue to try and key into it, and also once the project has been delivered, take ownership and help government in sustaining some of the investments that they've been making towards the energy transition.
Yes, thank you very much. Now we come to the end of our conversation today, but I'm very sure that as we continue to engage each other, the MD have mentioned to us that we should encourage ourselves, engage with all their programs in the office, reach out to them with the wonderful and intelligent team that works in that office. We'll be able to get more information, more updates, and how we can continue to engage and key into the strategy they want to give to Nigeria in meeting the energy transition we are talking about. Thanks for your advice for young people. Thanks for advice to private sectors and the civil society. And I'm very happy that you also mentioned that you were once a civil society member, where you
Yes.
were also pushing for a lot of agenda to be carried out by the government. And thank God that you are there now, and we look forward to more contribution, more collaboration in meeting our targets towards energy transition. Have a great evening and great afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I'm very happy that we're able to do this. In as much and we're able to do this, I also look forward to make sure that we try as much as possible to engage the office of Nigeria REA, that's Rural Electrification Agency in Nigeria. It's very, very important to get in touch to them, because from what the MD have also shared with us today, we've been able to see that a lot of things has been going on in that office, and we all just need to engage. And if you have been engaging and they have not been replying to your messages, I think we need to start doing that, because the MD, the CEO, have given his word, his promise to make sure that their door is open for collaboration, their door is open for engagement, and he has also encouraged a lot of young people out there to make sure that they are part of what they are doing. And he also mentioned the project of the research and innovation hub that they are working on. This is another way for us as young people to engage the ministry or the agency and to see how we can help them to achieve their aim. And I also want to say that you've also listened to what their contribution is towards the Paris Agreement. We are almost 6 months into COP, and we are looking forward to see Nigeria as a country that will not only be talking, but as a country that will be looking at implementation and carrying along other young people, other civil society organizations, other private sector to achieve our energy transition in Nigeria. Thank you very much for everybody that have joined us. If you still have questions for our guests today on this fireside chat, I want you to please send it across. We can also share it with them. And we can also tell you that you can engage them on social media platform where you'll be able to hear from them. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye.